One of the things that I learned, or at least I understood, was that our thoughts create brainwave activity, among other things. Stimulation of any kind really does. And it's the thoughts and the stimulation that create the brainwave activity that also tells the neurons, your brain cells, what kind of chemistry to produce. Things like endorphins or hormones or neurotransmitters.
Hi, I'm Glennis Woods Mullins, and I love to help women to vibe, to be more vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered in midlife. So come on, let's vibe.
I keep hearing all the time from women my age and even younger that they feel like their short-term memory is going. They're concerned about their long-term memory, and they feel like they're leaving something on the table when it comes to their ability to really be alert and to be clear with their thought processes. And this is something that's very common in midlife. Some of it can be hormonally driven, but sometimes it's more than just hormones. Sometimes it's maybe we might have the need to get a little help to be able to use our brain more effectively. Now, when I say a little bit of help, I don't mean talking to a brain surgeon and I don't mean talking to a psychiatrist. Actually, there are things out there that can help you use your brain in a way that serves you better. And it doesn't have anything necessarily to do with the fact that we don't use all of our brain, not at all. This is a concept whose time has come, and I'm so glad to introduce to you our guest today, Maury Zelkovich. He is the creator of the Maury method, or the TMM, which is discovered as a result of the powerful impact that he learned that sound can have on your mental state. He's been working on this and researching this for over 40 years. It's been a lifelong journey, and he has basically created a whole different way of connecting with the brain and our brain waves so that we can learn different ways of being.
To be here and to have the opportunity to share what is more than likely unknown to your audience.
Oh,
Something
definitely.
for them and help them to help themselves.
I didn't realize that you were the only engineer of your ilk in the world. So that right there alone speaks volumes in terms of the fact that people don't know what this is. So first of all, I say a little bit about your background, but if you could just share more information about how you came to this in the first place.
I spent the first 40 years of my life super depressed, wanting to be dead. I remember I used to get up in the morning, I'd stand on my bed, look out the window, cross my fingers, and hope I would see mushroom clouds. Because if I saw mushroom clouds, it would mean I don't have to live through another day. I tried to end my life that I can remember 6 times. Thing is, if you really want to die, one should have been enough. It took me a while to figure that out, 6 times. But when I realized I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live. And that's what started me trying different things. I tried the usual suspects, addictions to things like marijuana, to women, to alcohol. Those all made my life worse. Now, don't get me wrong. The women didn't make my life worse. My stupidity involved in how I was trying to use them to distract myself is what made my life worse. Those didn't work. I thought I'd see doctors and clinicians, coaches and stuff, and they didn't help either. Not again, like it's their fault. It just wasn't right for me. And then I tried other things like the esoteric. I tried electronic therapy, electricity through my ears, through my brain. I tried water. I tried meditation. I tried cooling and breathing and EMDR. And I tried everything I could find. Remember, I was looking for 40 plus years.
Wow.
So I became quite a good researcher. And I eventually came across this thing called brainwave entrainment. And as I was learning, as I was gaining understandings about how the brain worked, I started studying neurology and neurodynamics and quantum chemistry and brain chemistry and quantum physics. Understand that I'm not formally trained in any of these things. These are all things that I started picking up going to what I call the paper internet, which of course is a library. Couldn't have the internet back then. But as I was gaining this understanding, I suddenly started realizing that my problem was here. It's how I was processing information. And that started me on the search for something that could influence my brain and the way it acted so that I could experience different things. And one of the things that I learned, or at least I understood, was that our thoughts create brainwave activity, among other things. Stimulation of any kind really does. And it's the thoughts and the stimulation that create the brainwave activity that also tells the neurons, your brain cells, what kind of chemistry to produce. Things like endorphins or hormones or neurotransmitters. And it turns out that our brains create this chemical soup, a neurochemical soup. And if your life tastes good, it's because you're thinking good thoughts and it's helping you to create good chemistry. I was not thinking good thoughts. It was creating horrible chemistry. And when I came across brainwave entrainment, it should have worked. I tried it. It didn't work. At that point, I thought my life is over because 40 plus years of looking and no solution. I pretty much had seen everything I was going to see. I was tired. I was agitated. I was even more depressed. But a little voice said, it should have worked. It should have worked. It should have worked. And that inspired me to change it. And when I adapted certain techniques that I had come up with through my research all those years, it did help. And that started me really doing it a lot and developing other recordings. It was just a 30-minute recording. I laid down, I put on headphones, and I fell asleep for half an hour. And it made a difference for only for 5 minutes afterwards, but it was enough to tell me life could be different.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing story. And also,
Thank you.
really teaches us that we should really never give up. I do truly believe that if you're going through a situation that's challenging, there is an answer for it. There definitely is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going through it because it's there to teach you something. But that doesn't really help. That knowledge doesn't really help while you're going through it. While you're going through it, it's a hot mess.
But what you're saying makes a lot of sense, because think about it this way, if you're driving a car and the check engine light comes on, do you ignore it or do you do something about it?
That's a whole nother conversation, because I have a theory about that. I feel like we have two kinds of people in this world. You have the walking wounded, and then you have the walking wounded who are in search of a cure, in search of healing. Some of the walking wounded decide, that's just the way I'm going to be. Like it or leave it, lump it. This is just who I am. And the others are, I don't want to be that way. I'm going to keep looking. And you were one of the walking wounded that sought healing. And now as a result, so many more people are going to benefit. What is the definition of brainwave entrainment for a layperson like me? How do you explain that? What is it?
That's actually a really good question, because a lot of people come to me and they go, I can't be entrained. It's kind of like hypnosis. You can't hypnotize me. It's not possible.
Okay.
The thing is, if you like music at all and you've ever listened to music you like, you've been entrained. So when you bop your head mindlessly and when you tap your toes mindlessly to music, that's a form of entrainment. Basically, what we're doing is we're exposing you to stimulation, most commonly sound or audio. And in that audio, you're hearing a pulse tone. It's almost like a very soft MRI. Bum, bum. And your neurons start following that pulse rate. So it's bum, off, bum, off, bum, off. And your neurons start following that pattern. So they fire an electric signal. Poof, nothing. Poof, nothing. Poof, nothing. And depending on how many times a second that signal gets expressed in the neuron, that dictates the kind of state you're in. Most people are familiar, and you're likely familiar yourself, with alpha, theta, delta, beta, gamma. They're all brain states. But all they really mean is, from a scientific standpoint, is how many times your neuron in question is pulsing an electric pulse per second. That's all it means. Theta might be 7 times a second. Alpha might be 10 times. Beta could be 25 times. And there's ranges in between. But depending on the neuron's location and how many times it's pulsing like that, that dictates the kind of chemistry it produces. And that is the key to the kingdom as far as I'm concerned, because one of the understandings I currently have from all my years of research is that our thoughts create brainwave activity, and that brainwave activity creates chemistry, and it's actually the chemistry that allows you to feel the way you feel. So if you're happy, you're sad, you're excited, you're bored, whatever you are, you don't actually experience that without your brain creating chemistry. And if you don't get that chemistry, you don't know what's happened. You've probably heard of people who've been shot and they didn't know they were shot. The sensory information never made it to the brain.
Now,
So
one of the reasons why that happens is because the adrenaline that's in the system. Is that the reason why, or is there something else? What else is happening?
it can be adrenaline. It can also just be you're distracted. There's a lot of different reasons for a lot of things. I'm not a medical doctor. Don't take anything I say as medical advice or anything like that. But that being said, you can look it up. Our brains create our experience.
So,
Our guts are important. Everything's important, but we experience from what happens up here.
It starts with what's going on between the two ears. Now, as this is a podcast that is really all about women, midlife women in particular, living a life that is vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered, living a V.I.B.E life. And the average age, it's gone down a little bit. It seems like the 30-somethings are now tuning in, but most of them are midlife women. And they might be wondering, what does this have to do with me in terms of what does it all mean? And I can see definitely how it can make a difference, because in midlife, you're going through so many transitions. There's so much going on, and you're in the midst of a transformation. I say all the time that midlife does not mean no life. Midlife means an opportunity to peel back the layers and get a chance to really know who you are, and up to also pursue your passions and your dreams. And what a great opportunity for something like this, because it can help you. Explain how the midlife women can actually maybe even reconnect more with their intuition and their inner guidance by using this program.
So in my opinion, a lot of men have probably defined what midlife is supposed to be like for women. And I'm a man, and I can tell you, I don't know at all what it's like. But I have done research, and I do speak with women. The research that I've studied is done by women. The people I ask about these things when I'm developing systems, they are women. I don't go to a gastrointestinologist if I have a brain problem. Why would I go to a man if I'm a woman? It just doesn't make sense to me. So when it comes to these issues that occur, and they do happen, they're real, I think a lot of them are misinterpretations. I think a lot of them are, I've been taught my whole life that this is what's going to happen to me when I'm 40, when I'm 35, when I'm 60, when I'm 70. And people develop expectations. And those expectations create, again, brainwave activity. And that brainwave activity, again, creates chemistry, which creates the anchoring of these beliefs. It's almost self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's interesting because one of the things I say all the time without even knowing the basis, and this is just an intuitive thought, but now you're backing it up with science, is that what we say to ourselves is very powerful. The brain picks up on those things, and then they figure out how to serve that. And okay, that's what she wants, or that's what's happening. And sometimes what we're saying is not necessarily true, not based on anything real, but what we've heard, but it has an impact. You're right. That becomes true. Like you said, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I would encourage women, really people in general, to ignore what they were supposedly taught. When I was 16 years old and someone was in their 60s, they looked a lot older than someone in their 60s look now. They looked like they were 80. And maybe that's just my eyes aren't as good as they used to.
Because you're right. But when I was a little girl watching movies made back in the 40s and 30s and 40s, I love old movies. I used to watch old movies all the time. Women who were like 50 had a hairnet on, black orthopedic shoes, black long dress, gray haired, sitting in a rocking chair, knitting. And they looked like they could have been 70. Now, here I am at the recording. I'm 68, and I know I don't look like your typical 68-year-old even now. But a lot of that has to do with mindset. I'm just not ready to be there. I'm not ready to be sitting in a rocking chair knitting with the orthopedic shoes on. That was never any of my messaging. So
that's the difference. But that's the difference. You don't buy into the lie. You don't buy into what they tell you're supposed to be.
No.
There's evidence all over the world of women of all ages that are terrific and lively and boisterous and doing all kinds of things that a lot of men in their 50s aren't doing anymore.
Yep, that's true.
We're all told we're supposed to retire. You should have been retired years ago.
I am in some ways.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be sitting in the rocking chair knitting, playing with your...
Definitely not. Definitely not.
No, but that's my point, though, because you didn't buy into it. And the thing is, even if you have bought into this at this point, look around you and you'll see evidence of women everywhere that are not like they're supposed to be, maybe not like how you are, but understand something. Your experience changes with your belief system. So when you change your belief systems, that changes your chemistry too. And that creates a situation where you can recreate yourself. You can literally, like me, I'm getting younger as I live longer. See, I'm not getting older, I'm living longer. As I live longer, I'm actually getting younger. I used to have, I'm more physically capable than I used to be. I just came in from a 3-hour walk.
Wow.
Don't even feel tired or winded at all. But when I was 17, 18 years old, I could do everything I can do now. But then when I was in my 30s, it's okay, now I'm supposed to be an adult. I guess I shouldn't be doing this stuff anymore. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Belief systems are everything. And that's where brainwave entrainment comes in. Because again, your belief system creates the chemistry. And like you alluded to, which was brilliant, by the way, we create our reality by our beliefs. So if you expect to lose your hearing, if you expect to lose your vision, if you expect this and you expect that, you will. Even if you're not, your senses will tell you your vision's not as good as it used to be, even though the eye doctor says there's nothing wrong with your eyes.
Yeah. It's interesting because the brain does not differentiate between what's real and what's not. It's just, this is the information you're giving, garbage in, garbage out. And so that's what you're saying, and then that's what's going to be happening. That's how the brain's going to be like, oh.
And I just want to say you have full control. You do. Even if you haven't been giving yourself the proper internal talk up until this point, it doesn't matter how old you are. The thing people don't realize is that you are as alive as someone who's 12, because there's no such thing as the past and there's no such thing as the future. I know it's hard to wrap your head around it, but think about it. When you ate dinner last night, did you eat dinner last night, first of all?
Not really.
Okay, did you have lunch?
Small dinner.
Okay, a small dinner. And when you were chewing that dinner, when was it for you?
When I was chewing it, when was it for me?
Yeah, it was now.
Yeah, I was present. Yeah, it was now.
It has to be now because you can't chew in the past. And
I can't choose in the future.
That's correct. You can't breathe in the past. You can't breathe in the future. So when you were breathing, when you were eating, when you were showering, when you were washing your face, when you were brushing your teeth, it's always now. That means that you always have now, just like anybody else. Always have.
You can't live in the past, can't change it. You can't live in the future. You can't really predict it. So all you really do have is now, right now.
All everybody does have is now anyway. And if you can bring your intention and your attention into the same place your body exists, you'll be in a position to live a whole different life. Assuming you don't like the life you're living, of course. There are people out there who are happy with what they have. But I believe that there's always more. The human experience isn't about hitting a pinnacle and then sitting back and retiring. The human experience is about seeing how high we can go.
Constantly searching and improving and finding ways to be better.
Exactly.
Now, talk about with the brainwave entrapment support, how does that help people to maybe heal emotionally? One of the factors with midlife women is the amount of stress they have, the anxiety they have. They're also dealing with the whole idea of grief. And on top of all of that, their bodies are, to use an expression for my clients, their bodies are betraying them. And actually, I don't feel that way, but that's how some women feel, that their bodies are betraying them right at the time when they need to be, because they're dealing with all of these transitions. How does the brainwave entrainment help support the emotional healing that's necessary to get through those transitions?
So the emotions are experienced, again, because of brain chemistry. If we can manage to change that chemistry, even subtly, it gives us evidence that we can feel different, that we can do things differently. The body tends to lose conditioning, muscle tone, all these things because of age. But think about it. What is it about the aging process that creates this? Why are some people in fantastic shape, phenomenal shape when they're in their 70s and 80s? And other people are like, they're in wheelchairs or on those little roundabouts or scootery thingies. I think one of the biggest reasons is there's sometimes some genetic coding going on here. But in a lot of cases, we're not as active as we used to be. Netflix is wonderful. Amazon is wonderful. All these things are wonderful. But back in the olden days, when I was a kid, dinosaurs roamed the earth. What happened was, there you go. We probably bought our pet dinosaurs at the same shop. So the thing is, though, the TV that was out was crap. And it was like 5, 6, 7, 8 channels. It didn't take you 3 days just to get through all the channels. We didn't have binge watching. There were no streaming of shows. It's like you put on a show, if you really liked it and you were lucky, it would be on again next week, same bat times, channel. And then in a lot of cases, when the season ends, you have to wait like 3, 4, 5 months before the next season started. So what did you do? You went out, you did things. Even before that, farming and families had to support themselves economically. They would get up, they would work all day, they'd eat again after they worked again, and then they would basically relax around the dinner table and go to bed. Because that's what life was. It didn't have all these distractions. It didn't have the newfangled idiot box. That's actually, I have a Google Home on my TV down here, and I call it, hey, blah, blah, turn on the idiot box.
And it does.
And it says, sure, I'll turn on the idiot box. Because that's what it is. But that's my point. I was on another podcast earlier today, and something we came up with was very interesting. I'm going to share it with your audience now. Keep a journal about everything you do. I used to watch a TV show called Columbo. I love this guy, okay? He's a little guy, fantastic detective. He always had a little notepad with him, and he was always scribbling in it. So we all have our phones, right? And if we don't want to write, we can use our voice to text features. Take notes. Just go, okay, I'm going for a walk now. It's 1 p.m. I'm eating now. It's 3. I had this. I'm doing this because I'm bored. I'm having a cigarette because I'm an idiot. Whatever the reason is, whatever I'm doing. And then we also have this cool thing called AI. And it entered my head, wouldn't it be cool if we could take our journal notes and drop them into ChatGPT or one of our favorite AIs and say, I want you to act as a statistical analyst. And I want you to look through all of my notes and how I'm experiencing my life. And I want you to suggest to me things that I'm doing that might be having an influence over the kind of results I'm getting. I'm having pain, I'm having impatience, I'm having stress, I'm having anxiety. I tried this. ChatGPT actually will analyze what you wrote down as far as what you did, what you were thinking, blah, 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 everything you put in your notes. And it compared it against your physical and mental well-being. I feel pretty happy. I'm a little nervous. I'm this, I'm that. You put everything and anything into it and then run it through and ask it to be a statistician. Ask it to analyze your information and give you suggestions on what you might be doing that might be contributing to the good and the not so good that's happening in your life. I'm not saying it's going to give you the truth or it's going to give you anything too valuable, but in my case, I can tell you it was pretty good. And if nothing else, it made me think.
Yeah, it will give you some real aha moments and things like that. I love ChatGPT because it's not the end all be all in terms of information. You have to be the final decider in terms of how you're going to use the information, if at all. But it's great for prompting in terms of start thinking other things that may not even be in the chat at all. It was put in them, and it would kind of trigger something else. And that's very helpful. I wanted to ask you, though, what does the brainwave entrainment encompass? We've talked about what brainwave entrainment is, how it could possibly help, but what does it encompass? What is it actually? And I'm saying this because I know, but our audience doesn't, that this is actually, the result is a product that you've come up with to help people access brainwave entrainment.
Yes. So because we have a general understanding of how the brain works, how our psychology operates, we can create systems where they target the release of certain neurotransmitters, endorphins, and hormones, recipe, if you will, that tastes really good, as opposed to the recipe that might be causing you stress and anxiety. And as we expose your brain to these stimulation patterns, again, it can be as simple as putting on headphones, laying back, closing your eyes, and all you will hear is which is a series of over 600 frequencies laid over top of each other that help to act almost like a mask, blocking out external noise. But there's some frequencies there that I believe resonate with different regions of your brain, making it more accepting of what is to come, which is the actual frequency itself. Bum, 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 bum. I know it sounds like you'd get bored of it pretty quick because it's monotonous, but actually, because it mimics natural processes in your brain and how they function anyway, you never get used to it and it never loses its effectiveness. I'm still using audio recordings where I lie down, I put on headphones, all I'm hearing is ba, 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 that are over 30 years old, and they haven't lost effectiveness at all. A lot of people have a problem with it because it's not like a pill that you have to buy every month. So some business partners or potential business partners have said no to me because they said people don't have to keep rebuying this over and over again. So I should help you market it. They don't see it as, you see, when I want to do business with someone, when I want to have a business partner, I'm looking for someone who gives a crap. I'm looking for someone who wants to make a difference. This kind of technology has the technology built into the recordings as opposed to a device. So all you need is an ordinary pair of stereo headphones and something to play it on, your phone, an MP3 player, a computer, a tablet, whatever. And that's all you need. It can be accessed anywhere on planet Earth in a matter of seconds and used by anybody. Doesn't matter your education level. It doesn't matter any of that. Makes no difference. You don't even have to know how it works. You just have to know how to put on a pair of headphones and hit play.
Yep. And full disclosure, I have had the honor of having access to this system. And for lay people, just to make it very simple, it's a series of recordings that have sounds in it that kind of remind you a little bit of what it might be like to listen to binaural beats, or to listen to subliminal messaging, or to listen to someone, in some cases, saying affirmations or saying certain kinds of things to you. What is interesting is the technology behind it, which involves the layering of the voices, the layering of the frequencies and sounds and all of that, things that us lay people don't know much about, but the end result is amazing. I've been using it now for about not quite 2 weeks, and it took me a little while to figure out how to incorporate it, because just like anything, first of all, it's a change, so you have to be prepared to incorporate that change. But the other thing is just figuring out, there was so much information on this platform to figure out which one am I going to do. It's like Christmas, so many things. And once I figured out what to do and how to do it, I set aside the time to be able to just be still for 30 minutes. Now, most of them are 30 minutes long. Some are 18 minutes and 15 minutes. But the interesting thing is that at first I was like, oh no, I don't have time for this. There's no way I can stop for 18 minutes. And those of you who know me or listening, that I'm pretty busy. Okay. There's lots going on from 4:30 a.m. till about 7 o'clock at night. It's just nonstop. And then I'm just like that little Energizer bunny. When the battery is out, I'm gone. That's it. So I'm thinking, where am I going to do this? But I made myself, at first, it would be 30 minutes. I might listen for 15 minutes. And I'm thinking, like, I can't do it. But what happened was, one of the things that I realized is that after about 2 or 3 days, I suddenly found the time, because this was just all my way of thinking. It wasn't true that I didn't have the time. I could spend 30 minutes looking for a Netflix movie to watch. Okay. So it's not like I'm so busy that I didn't have the time. It's just about reprioritizing. And somewhere along the way, by doing it, I suddenly stopped reprioritizing and realizing that, wow, I'm able to actually sit here for 30 minutes and just listen to this. Whereas prior, I was like all fidgety and stuff, which is funny because I can do meditation for an hour, but here is I can't sit. It was the idea. I had to reframe my thinking. And I do believe that the system helped to reframe my thinking because I was already getting incremental benefits and not even realizing it. When I realized that I could sit there and do it, I was like, wait a minute, this thing is working because somehow or other now I have more patience. Then I started realizing that I'm working longer in the midst of a lot of things. There was a lot of stuff going on with my family. We had 2 surgeries in my family, one after the other, stuff going on with the grandchildren, my kids, my business, all at once within 2 weeks. And then here comes this new product. And I was thinking, there's no way I would have time. Somehow or other, I found the time after listening. But the other thing was, in the midst of all this chaos, I was able to focus. I was able to plan. I was able to get new clients and put them on their new program. And it was just like none of those things hadn't happened or hadn't even concluded. But my focus and my reframing of the situation was different. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is that you have like maybe 6 modules or 7 modules, and I would love for you to share what those modules are. And each one has, a specialization or something in particular behaviorally that you might be interested in. But according to Maury and my own experience, it really doesn't matter which one you listen to because it's going to make a difference. Now, I would imagine that as you begin to learn more about how to use this wonderful platform, you will zero in on some things in particular. But I think just getting there to be able to have the impact to want to go further, just start listening. And it's amazing the focus and clarity that I have, the ability to bring things to closure, start a task and finish it. I usually have 5 or 6 tasks going on, and they all do get finished, but I'm exhausted by the time it's done. This way, I finish one task and I have enough energy to get to the next one and the next one. I'm thinking more clearly. I'm thinking more rational. I am making better decisions, and things seem to be, as a result, falling into place in a different way, which is really spooky. It has made that much of a difference. And that's because of the decisions that I'm making. That's why things are falling into place. And I'm making better decisions because I'm more clear, and I'm more clear because I'm using a product. So there you go.
I appreciate that testimonial. That's very nice. I might have to ask your permission to share it with others if they're telling. I appreciate that.
It's true. And my audience knows I do not endorse anything that I don't believe in that I haven't tried. I do not do that. And so I'm telling people right now who are listening to this, there's a link on the show page there that will lead you to this information, and you'll be able to try a sample. And just that little 15-minute or whatever the coffee thing is, I think it's 15
minutes. Coffee.
Yes, it makes a difference. It does. You will love this product. And I'm not just saying it to sell it to you. I'm saying it to help improve your life, because I know as midlife women, one of the first things that begins to quote unquote go is your ability to focus and your clarity and your short-term memory. Those are, to name a few, okay? And it addresses those things.
It helps you to address them yourself. I like to describe it as it helps you to help yourself. People are always asking me, what do you charge for coaching? I don't do coaching. I'm not necessary. The products help you to help yourself. Ultimately, I could design the perfect solution to everything. But if you don't use it, it's not going to help you. So that means that who's really helping you? You're helping yourself. Everybody helps themselves. And that shouldn't make you feel bad. That should make you feel amazingly wonderful, because in fact, you're the only person who can help yourself. And you can't make someone else help you, but you can turn yourself around and say, hey, I have the power. Look at what I've done so far. Even if you don't like what you've done, you have manifested it. That proves to you you have the power. And a lot of what I do when I'm doing my spoken word work is I use the same techniques that took me down the horrible path, but I changed the content because I know the techniques worked because I went down the horrible path. But when I change the content, it's the same technique, but the content is now positive. I get positive results. So a lot of what you might be thinking may not be what you're thinking. It might just simply be parroting back what other people have told you. And this kind of tech can help you to get by all of that and to see clearly. Instead of seeing through, I don't have rose-colored glasses handy, but instead of seeing the world through the color other people see it through, you see it through your true color, the color that makes sense. And let's face it, we all are built with our own sensor systems on board. You ultimately know when you're doing something and it refreshes you and it makes you feel happy and it makes you feel good. One of the things, I don't know if you had a chance to check out yet, are the V.I.B.E recordings. There's actually 3-minute video recordings that have audio.
Yes, I have. And the visualizations as well. I've done a couple of those. I've done the V.I.B.E recordings. It was really interesting because I was just talking with a client earlier who happens to be a holistic doctor. And she was just talking about how so many people have given their overall wellness issues and health to the experts without realizing that actually you are the expert on you. You might need a little nudge here or there or a tool here or there, but actually everything that you need to live a healthy and well life in terms of knowledge on how to do it lies within you. Sometimes we might need a little precursor to wake that thing up, but it's there. And if there was any analogy that I would use to describe my experience, is like something has awakened in me that was already there. I don't believe the system put it there. I believe that it did whatever it does with my neuroreceptors and everything else that are mine. It didn't give me neuroreceptors. I already have these things, but it helped it to perform it's helping it to perform more to optimum. It's helping it to perform in a way that serves me better. Okay. What's happening with me, if I were to place it into someone else, they may not have the same impact because it's not their neurons. I think everybody has a different experience, but I would say that everybody who has experience is always a good experience, correct?
Yeah, the thing is, your brain is the most powerful part of my work. So I don't even mention your brain in my work because I have no control over it. But you ultimately know what you need. You are your own guru. And frankly, here's a little bit of advice for you, because there's a lot of really good products out there, a lot of very good products, and a lot of very smart, helpful people who have good intentions and they really want to make you feel better. I think if you put this little blurb in front of every program you have before you do it, I think you'll find it'll work a lot more effectively. Hi, I'd like to let you know and thank you for buying my product. However, please understand that I can only design this product based on my experience. I didn't have your parents. I don't wear your clothes. I didn't eat your lunch yesterday. I didn't marry your spouse. Among a million other things that are different about my life from yours. Keeping that in mind, everything that I've come up with to teach you and to help yourself with is based on my experience, not yours. So if anything I'm teaching you resonates, take it in within yourself, reimagine it, reinterpret it, put it into your own language. Then if it still resonates with you, take action. And I believe you will have far greater chance of success. Most of us who do self-help don't get a lot of results, and we wonder why, and we end up spending more money on something else, and then more money on something else, and more money on something else. I believe that paragraph at the beginning of every single one of these products would make them infinitely more effective, because then people would finally understand why the 1,500,000 things they bought before haven't worked for them, because they're trying to apply Joe or Sally's cure on them, and they are not Joe or Sally. But by reimagining and reinterpreting and translating it, that would be the secret sauce that's missing from you having success with a product or potentially success with a product and not. And that is the benefit of the work I'm doing, is that I'm not teaching you anything. I'm not telling you I know better than you do, or my technique is fantastic. My work optimizes your mind and your brain. That allows you to take the reins, you to take control. That's why so many people, I believe that's why you, Linus, are getting good results too. And why everyone gets good results. That's why I listen every night when I go to sleep to a sleep system I have, because it makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I want to encourage all of you to click on the link in my profile. Also take a look at all the other links that are down there about Maury, and his media is there, his website is there. But in particular, click on the other link there. You'll see it'll say something like my system or something like that, or Linus's system, whichever one. Anyway, definitely click on that link, and it will open up a whole nother world for you. I can't even explain it. You just need to go and try it, and then come back and listen to this interview again, and then you'll say, oh, okay, now it's clicking. It took a little while for me to click, but anything that is new requires maybe a new way of thinking to approach in order for you to be able to benefit from it. So it's new, okay? And you know what I always say about change in midlife? Embrace change. And midlife is all about transition and change. You're the expert at that. So therefore, embrace it, give it a try, and just watch the changes, because you'll see them for sure.
And if I could just say one last thing.
Yes.
Midlife is the bridge to a better life. It
Absolutely.
is not the downhill. You're just, you know what? You've got everything from your youth, all that, plus you have wisdom, and you add all that together. My life is so much better than it ever has been. I'm 63, almost 64.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till I'm 70 and 80 and 90 and 100. And one of the questions Lynette asked me is, what are you doing to deal with your midlife? And I answered in the paper, I said, I'll tell you when I get there.
It's so funny because I don't know if I'm in midlife, that means I'm going to be live to be 130. So I don't know what you call it. So I don't know what you call when I am. We're so into labels. And the bottom line is I said, yeah, I'm old. I'm outstanding, limitless, and divine. Okay. So if you just need to have a label, yes, I'm old. So, and Maury,
You're not at
outstanding,
all.
limitless, and divine. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and this wonderful product and the wonderful work you've been doing. It's been an honor having you on the V.I.B.E Living Podcast today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. It's the highlight of my week. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. And thank you to all of you for being here. I know you have 50 million podcasts you could listen to. Thank you for making this podcast in the top 5% of podcasts in the world, according to Listen Notes. So I really do appreciate the support. Make sure that you go ahead and give us a review if you think we're worth a review, and comment, like, and share the podcast. I really am excited about the responses I've been getting from all of you. So keep them coming and keep giving me the comments. I love listening to you. And if there's anything in particular you want to hear, let me know about it. Thanks so much for listening. Have a fantastic day, everybody. And don't forget to V.I.B.E. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share this podcast. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to V.I.B.E. Bye-bye, everybody.